You've worked hard for your vacation. You don't want to waste it. You're looking at those Disney Deluxe Resorts and you're thinking to yourself, is it even worth it? Is it really different, or am I just paying for the name? You're not looking for the cheapest option. You're looking for something that's the just right experience. You want ease. You want access. You want a vacation that feels elevated, not exhausting. And the truth is, Disney can feel very different depending on where you stay. And that's why this conversation matters. If we've not met yet, I'm Christy McCullough with Harbor and Holiday Travel Company, and I've been staying on property at Walt Disney World Resort for over 50 years. I stayed at Disney's Contemporary Resort and Disney's Polynesian Resort back in the 1970s and 80s, when that's really all there was to stay at on property. And so I remember staying in the rooms in the original A-frame of the Contemporary. I remember walking into the Polynesian and seeing all the tropical plants and that smell. You know what I'm talking about, the Polynesian smell. And just thinking that it felt like a whole different world. Over the decades, I have stayed at every single Disney Deluxe property. And as of 2026 for spring break, we're going to be checking into Bay Lake Tower at Disney's Contemporary Resort. So I can officially say I've stayed in every type of accommodation at those Disney Deluxe Resorts. So when you're wondering if Disney Deluxe is worth the price tag, you're not getting a brochure answer from me. You're getting an answer from someone who's walked through it in every stage of life. So let's talk about what actually changes when you upgrade, and let's see if that elevated experience is worth it for you. So let's talk about reason number one. Location. Location, location, location. The proximity to the theme parks actually changes your whole entire strategy. So if you're staying, let's say, on the monorail loop, and you are staying at one of the deluxe resorts like Disney's Grand Floridian and Spa, or you're staying at Disney's Contemporary Resort or Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, then you can rope drop, and it's easy. It's easy to hop on that monorail or walk to Magic Kingdom and be there for rope drop, because you know, if Magic Kingdom actually opens at 9 a.m., then you're staying on property, so you get early entry at 8:30. And if you're trying to rope drop your 8:30 time, that means that you could be as far into where the rope is, which is usually around Fantasyland, Tomorrowland. You can be that far in at 8:30 when the rope drops. That's rope drop. Okay, so being that close means that you will be there way before all of the other people who are staying off property, or maybe are even staying on property, but they're just in hotels that are farther away. So you could rope drop, you could be there early, you can have your babies, right? Your toddlers, your preschoolers, your kids in strollers who are fresh and more vibrant in the morning, and you could knock out a lot of different experiences first thing in the morning with your rope drop. And it's easier because you're staying at a Disney Deluxe Resort, especially if you're staying on the monorail loop, or if you're staying near EPCOT and you're actually staying over by the boardwalk. You could be there so much quicker. You're not fighting the big ferry boat ride across the Seven Seas Lagoon and Bay Lake. You're not fighting with the bus, right? Waiting for the bus to come and pick you up. No, you can get there so much faster. Okay, so we know we can get there faster, but you know what is even more important, I think, sometimes? It's that you can get back to your room faster. That's right. If you have a toddler who's getting ready to have a meltdown in the middle of the day, who needs a break, a snack, a nap, and you can be there in less than maybe 10, 15 minutes, that is going to make a huge difference. You know what, guys? That's not luxury, that's sanity. That's going to save your sanity. Reason number two, of course you can rope drop with your littles. But what about late nights with your teenagers? Yeah, when the kids were little, we would do rope drop, or if I go without the kids, I can be up early and I can do a rope drop, and there's nothing like that early morning feeling of a freshly washed theme park and walking in with the sun just coming up. I love it. But my strategy changed over the years. I started going into the parks later in the afternoon with my teenagers, and we would have our extended evening hours from staying in a deluxe resort. That's right. If you stay in a deluxe resort, they offer extended evening hours 2 hours after park close at Magic Kingdom or EPCOT on select nights. And let me tell you, Disney at night is a completely different vibe. The strollers are gone, the temperatures are cooler, the lights are twinkling, and there's space to just walk. There's so much room. It is amazing. That is an elevated Disney experience for sure. It feels slower, almost romantic. And if you have a night owl in your family, mwah, chef's kiss, right? Those late nights riding those headliner rides like Tron or Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, that's elite. That's elite Disney right there. It is a completely different energy than those 8 a.m. rope drops, and I love that staying at a deluxe resort really gives you both of those options depending on your season of life. I know a lot of people think they don't want to go to Disney until their kids are a certain age when they can remember it, but I'm here to tell you that I've been to Disney with every single age and stage. I've been to Walt Disney World Resort with a child who was 7 months old. I've been to the Walt Disney World Resort with my mom and my aunt who are in their 70s. And it is totally doable and enjoyable along the way. Let me tell you, the only thing that has to change is your expectations. You have to really design the trip around what your party might need. And so if you have young children, I would suggest a deluxe resort is perfect because you can rope drop and you can go back to your room quickly for those afternoon naps. But if you have teenagers, I would tell you that a Disney Deluxe Resort is the perfect thing to choose because you have more space with your teenager and you get those extended evening hours. And that's when they really shine. That's when you build that bond by being in the park after hours, after dark, when there's minimal crowd and you have these great experiences together. So I have a question for you. What is the age and stage of the people in your party? Who are you going to Disney with? Are you going with the littles? Are you going with kids that are under the age of 3? Are you going with elementary school or high school kids? Are you now going as an empty nester couple and enjoying it all by yourself? Or are you going with your grandparents? Are you taking them maybe one last time or their first time ever when they turn 80? What's the age and stage of the people in your party going to Disney World? Tell me in the comments. Reason number 3 for why I love a Disney Deluxe Resort, 2 words: the balcony. That's right, there is nothing like a Disney Deluxe balcony. I love getting up in the morning and making my fresh cup of tea and going and sitting out on the balcony. Whether I have a garden view or I have a view of Bay Lake. If I can watch other people getting ready, heading out to the parks, if I can watch the transportation taking off, if I can watch the sun come up over Bay Lake, oh my gosh, it is just the most beautiful thing. And a lot of the other resorts on property don't come with balconies, but deluxe resorts do. The balcony is just as magical at night. It kind of grounds me after a day in the parks. We are coming back when everyone else is asleep. Maybe we get back a little bit early and I'm actually watching the fireworks from my own balcony. Oh, there's just nothing like sitting in the quiet, kind of watching what's happening going on in Walt Disney World and having your own private space. Reason number 4 why I love staying at a Disney Deluxe property, it's the restaurants and the lounges. Now, I love a good sit-down restaurant, But I really love taking advantage of all of the lounges that are at the Disney Deluxe properties, usually attached to some sort of signature dining. So if I'm staying at the Contemporary Resort, I love to go down to the lower level to Steakhouse 71, and I love to have lunch or dinner at the lounge, the bar area. They have such great samplings of the other dishes on the menu, and sometimes they even have a secret menu. At Steakhouse 71, my favorite thing to order there is the French onion soup. Oh, it is so good. They have a Caesar salad, actually, that is just phenomenal. And so I don't always want a full signature dining experience and a big heavy meal, but I love some of the different apps or small plates that you can get. If you're at the Polynesian, you've got a couple different choices. You have Tambu Lounge in the main building, but also over by the Polynesian Tower, you now have the new Wailulu. Oh, that bar and grill is an open air restaurant. I absolutely love it. The burger, it's amazing. And if you sit near the walkway, you can actually look out and you can see Cinderella Castle across Bay Lake with the monorail going by. I mean, you talk about lunch with a view. And if you stay at a Disney Deluxe Resort, if you are actually in the theme parks, usually, rope dropping and it's getting to the heat of the day and the crowds are getting thicker and you feel that heat radiating up from the pavement, you know what I tell people to do? Leave. I tell them to leave and go back to one of the Disney Deluxe Resorts to eat lunch, to sit down, get in some air conditioning, get off your feet. And so if you're staying at a Disney Deluxe Resort, then you already know how good the bars and lounges are. If you're staying at the Grand Floridian, one of the things I love in the evening is the Enchanted Rose Bar. They have great drinks, they have signature appetizers, and they have multiple rooms. And each one of them is themed to a different portion or theme in Beauty and the Beast. And so, pro tip, go into the library area and you'll see little remnants of all of the characters from Beauty and the Beast. If you're finding this content helpful, enjoyable, then be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to share this content with someone who's thinking about a Walt Disney World trip, go ahead and do that as well. Another pro tip, if you're not happening to take advantage of the extended evening hours, maybe during one of your nights, then here's what I would do. I would go to one of the lounges. I would get food to go. I would take it back to my balcony or to the beach or somewhere where I can watch the fireworks, and I would eat my food while I'm watching the fireworks on my own balcony late at night. Now that's a vibe. Reason number 5, why I still choose Deluxe after all of these years. It adapts with you. So after 50 years of staying at Disney, after staying at every Deluxe Resort on property, why do I still choose it? Well, because it really changes your pace in your vacation. You're not just scrambling to get to the next thing. You actually slow down and you enjoy the environment that you're in. You're not rushing transportation. You're not sacrificing comfort. You're not just squeezing elements of your resort into the margins of your vacation. Your resort becomes part of the magic. So whether you're in stroller season or teen season or an empty nester like me, Disney adapts to you. It rises up and it meets you where you are. Whew, why am I getting so choked up? For me, Disney is all about the memories. And every time I walk onto property, I smell that smell of the Polynesian. I'm taken back to when I went in the 80s with my Grandma Youngs. And she was as happy as a lark to just be along for the ride. Or when my daughter was 16 and we hung out there while she was in high school and had character breakfast at Ohana with Stitch and Lilo. Or even just last month when I met my mom and my aunt, who are both in their 70s, but still enjoy just being in the presence of Walt Disney World. And we hung out and spent the day at the Polynesian Resort, taking in all of the things, eating at Tambu Lounge and Wailulu, taking a walk over to the Grand Floridian, and having a Dole Whip right there on Lanai. It just brings me back. All those memories come flooding in when I stay on property. So is deluxe for everyone? Well, I'm not telling you to stretch your finances, and overextend yourself and put it on a credit card. First of all, if you can afford it, I want you to think about then it being a great option. But it's not for everyone, because you're going to be closer to the transportation and the theme parks and the fireworks. But guess what? You're also going to hear them as well. And so if that is important to you, then you might want to reconsider where you're staying. Because the fact that you can hop on the transportation very quickly, or you can watch fireworks from your bed, means you can also hear it as well. I could hear the ferry horn blow as it took off from the Ticket and Transportation Center as I stayed at the Polynesian, which I watched fireworks from my bed at that location as well. So if the quiet is important to you, then you might want to choose maybe a different deluxe resort, or just a totally different resort that's not as close to the theme parks and all of the convenience, but then the hubbub and the noise as well. So you have to think about, is being so close to all of the experiences, is that going to be a perk, or is that going to be a problem for your family? But if you value proximity, late nights, balconies, elevated dining experiences, then it might be a good decision that would take your trip from fun to unforgettable. So if you're a busy professional who wants to go on vacation, but you don't have time to do the planning, or you're overwhelmed with all of the decisions as part of planning a trip, then reach out to me. You can go to my website at harborholidaytravel.com, and you can click the little button to tell me more about your trip, and we can start the conversation. Or you can send me an email to Kristi, Kristi, at harborholidaytravel.com. And I'd love to schedule an appointment to talk about your priorities for your next trip. Once again, I am Kristi McCullough with Harbor and Holiday Travel Company, and wherever you decide to stay at Walt Disney World, I always hope that you find joy in the journey.